What's up everybody, it's Victon here with an updated guide for the Chaos Recipe Enhancer tool. Now this thing is super useful for league start scenarios, which is why I am releasing this guide today, as a league start is happening tomorrow. So for all you folks that are actually going to watch this video today, fantastic for you guys. You guys gonna get this up and running before the league start happens, which is really good. But it's also going to be useful for any of you guys that are watching this video in the future. Of course, this is a really good tool for any time of the league. It's really just going to help you manage the chaos recipe within the Path of Exile game. I'll go over that here shortly, but basically it's just a quality of life tool that's going to help you shorten the time it takes to actually do the chaos recipe and just make you currency. And it's going to be automated, so it literally just puts currency in your bank basically. And I'll go over basically what all of the tool has to offer here and the updates that it has received here in the last couple months, and also let you guys know that this is apparently getting new management, so to speak. They are getting new developers that are going to update the tool for the next few leagues, so pretty excited about that. There was a while there where there was not an update. As you can see here, it's not been updated since August 11th of 2021. It is still usable though, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to get it up and running so you guys can use it in the league start tomorrow, or like I said, in any league going forward. Alright, so first and foremost, I'm going to of course put the link to this website here in the video description. You're going to come here, and this is the page that you're actually going to get. So while we're on this page, I'll actually kind of just show you a couple things so you can get an idea of what the actual tool is before we start downloading it. Alright here, so let's go back to this. There we go. So you can scroll down here and you can kind of see some of the features before you even download the tool. So it kind of gives you an idea of what it has to offer. So the main thing is it can actually change your loot filter to show you exactly what items you need for the chaos recipe. This is such an amazing feature because, so let's say for example, actually he has a power ring right here. Rings and amulets are definitely the most rare for the chaos recipe. However, you get tons of boots and gloves. It's actually going to be able to also tell you, for example, when you have enough boots and you have enough gloves, it's going to stop it and put the filter like back on your normal filter, and it won't show you, for example, like let's say it's red, right? It won't show you the boots or the gloves anymore. And let's say you only need rings now, it'll only show you rings. So super helpful to be able to save you time so that you're not picking up extra stuff on the ground when you don't need to. So pretty cool feature. And then when you do have your sets completed in your stash tab, it will actually literally guide you through like how to click it and put it into your inventory to sell it in like a super efficient way. And I'll show you this here in a second, but it just saves you so much time, and it's just such a nice quality of life feature here. There's of course settings that you can go through. We'll go through all of these settings. I really want to show you guys literally like the step-by-step on how to set this up and get it running, because I do have tons of questions all the time, and it has been a while since I've done a guide on this in particular. So I think it's good to do an updated guide and just kind of walk you guys exactly through how to set this up and get it running. Okay, cool. So once you come to this page, you're going to do over here, you see it says releases. We're going to click on this one right here. And then we're going to do this one right here, this CRE setup. So you're actually going to run that, and once you have it installed on your computer, it's going to be this right here. And always, I don't know if this matters, but I always open this up as administrator. So let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to hit yes here, and let's go ahead and hop in game, and let's open this up here. So, okay, this is the settings that you're going to get. So I'm going to walk you through literally every single setting here so you guys know exactly how to do this. Actually, before we do that, let's just kind of show you guys real quick like what it looks like in game, so you guys can kind of tell, hey, is this something I actually like, or is this not really worth my time, before you keep watching the video. So, okay, cool. So let's just say, or actually let me turn it on. Let me do save settings and then run overlay. Okay, so this is my little overlay that I have created there. So I don't have any sets in my tab right now just because I'm doing the guide on this. So what it's actually going to do is show me all of these items basically I need to pick up in order to make up sets. Oh la la la, all of them right here. And I've customized this to make it to where all the red items that show up, all these little pink items, those are the ones that I need to pick up. That is the one that my filter is telling me, hey, you do not have, enough helmets. Pick up helmets. And then I've changed the colors a little bit for the rings and for the amulets, so I know it's like, hey, definitely pick up these rings and amulets just because they're a little bit rare. So let's just say all these dropped in this map. I'm going to pick them all up. And then I'm going to go back to town here. And then we're going to go over to our stash tab. Now we have told the chaos recipe tool that this is the stash tab that we want to use for our chaos recipe. So I'm going to throw all of these in this tab. There we go. Now sometimes this does take a little bit to actually kind of update for your filter itself, so not a big deal there. We're going to let it just kind of sit here, and I will go over some of the settings and we'll come back to it, and then I'll show you kind of what it looks like, because this is one full set. So I'll show you what it looks like here shortly. Let's see if it works actually. No, okay, so it needs a little bit more time. Typically, I think it's about 45 seconds that it needs to be able to update and show you that, like, you know, hey, you've added things to your stash tab. So keep that in mind. It's about 45 seconds in order for it to update. Okay, so we definitely can go back to the settings real quick here while we are waiting on that. So let's go over the basics here. So when you log in, some of the stuff is not going to be listed like I have it here. Let's literally go through step by step here. So account name, make sure you put your account name in there. For me, it is Silo, and that's your account name of your Path of Exile official website. Now, the POE Session ID, I'll show you guys that here shortly. That's probably the most complicated thing about this entire guide, so I'll show you that here shortly. League, you're just going to want to put standard. Now, make sure that you update this. If, for example, like I'm testing this right now and the league comes out tomorrow and it is, you know, what is Arch Nemesis is the league. So I would want to make sure I put Arch Nemesis right there. So for the recipes, we're going to do chaos recipe and full greedy mode. Those are the only two things you need to check. Just take my word for it. Those are the only two things that you need to check there. Now for full set threshold, what I would recommend is if you guys are using a regular stash tab, you would do 5. And if you're using a quad tab, I would suggest doing 10. Basically what that means is the filter itself down here, as you can see, it's got like, here, let's hit this and see if it worked yet. Okay, cool, it did work. So basically it is showing me that I need 5 full sets before it'll like do a little sound. It'll go bing, and basically when you hear that bing, it basically means that you have your 5 full sets ready to go to turn in, which is pretty cool because basically, you know, a full set of 5 unidentified items, that equals 10 chaos. So super easy. And then for your quad tab, that would equal 20 chaos. So it's just a cool little, you know, every time you hear that bing, bam, you just made 10 chaos, like without even having to do any effort. So pretty cool. So now that we're in game and it actually worked, I can show you guys what it looks like here. So we just had one set be put into our stash tab. Now, again, I have set it to have the 5 here, but you can do it manually if you want to. Like, we don't have the 5, we only have the 1. So what you would do if you want to do it manually, like I just need some chaos right now. So let's go ahead and turn in this recipe. What you would do is you would come over here and you would hit this 1, and then it opens up the little overlay here in your tab. Now, good thing to note here is you can edit this. You will probably have to do this the first time you log in. It might look like something like this, right? You need to actually make it look exactly like your stash tab does. And if you do that, it will be very easy for you once you're actually clicking these items. So let's hit save. All right, so it's going to literally highlight the items that we need to put into our inventory, and it's going to do it in an exact order that is very efficient. So technically, if we took out all the inventories or all of the items in our inventory here, and we did exactly what it says, we did like this, oops, we did this, 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 this. You hear that little beep sound? If we do that, and then we do it for another set, that would be exactly the way to make it to where you can have two full sets in an inventory, and you would be able to trade that in. So that's what you would do there, and then you would just hit this button once more to make that little overlay go away, and then you go to sell. Now, one thing to note here about the chaos recipe, if you guys don't know, is that unidentified items equal 2 chaos orbs. I'm in standard here, so I have a prophecy, that's why it says 3. It's normally 2. So unidentified is 2 chaos orbs, and if you have a full set of identified items, that is 1 chaos orb. Now keep in mind though that all the items have to be item level 60. Okay, so 60 or above for the chaos recipe to actually work. Now if you're doing, I'm not sure if it's 75 or 80 eye level, but if you want to do the same thing but get regals out of it instead, it's either, you guys tell me in the comment section, it's either 75 or 80. One thing to note though is that you can actually mix match it. So let's say you have one that is like item level 60 and everything else is item level 80. The regal recipe will not work. It's only the chaos recipe. And I definitely find that the chaos recipe is way better than the regal recipe, at least just for me. You're mainly using this in like the beginning and middle league scenarios, and not necessarily like, you know, 2 months into a league, so the Regal recipe isn't really that useful, so it's just the chaos recipe. But that's how you would do it. You would turn these items in and you get your 2 chaos, easy peasy. So let's go ahead and put these back in here, and I will go back to the settings so that we can show you a couple more things here. Okay, so we were at the full set threshold. That's what you do there. 5 for regular stash tab, 10 for the quad tab. Stash tab mode, you want to have it as ID. Just trust me on that one. Keep that there. Stash tab indices. This is important, and this is what most people get wrong, and they have questions for me. This is what I would say is the easiest way to do this, guys. Make your chaos recipe stash tab, whether that be a regular tab or a quad tab. Make sure it is the very first tab in your like stash list. It's good for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to be good for the program, and it's just really easy the way we can set it up. But also, it's just like, you know, right when you go back to town, you open it up, it's right there, plop all your stuff in there, and you're good to go. So make sure it's the first tab. Okay, now that it's the first tab, you're going to actually put it as 0 here. Kind of interesting. I don't know why they did this, but like even though it's the first tab, it's not number 1. It's the first tab and it's number 0. So technically, like this is tab 0 and this is tab 1 for me, then tab 2. So it's kind of weird the way it works, but just kind of keep that in mind. So we're gonna have 0, make it the first one, and then we're gonna have 0 there. So fetch on new map, you definitely want to have that check marked. So every time you go into a new map, it's going to basically refresh everything, and it'll tell you exactly how many sets you have, and it'll also tell you, like, it'll refresh all the items. And then you will also, from there, I'll show you this when I do the example, you would want to refresh your loot filter, and you would do that every single map, and it's super easy. It's just like literally one click. So I'll show you that here in a little bit. So your log file location, it actually tells you what to do here. You're going to go to programs, grinding gear games, Path of Exile logs client, and you're just going to do that right in here, and it's right there. And it's super easy to do that one. Language, of course, I'm going to do English. And then that's really all I have over here. I have the notification checked, which is this. That little sound right there means that you have completed all of your sets. So pretty cool. You can actually change a couple different sets or sounds here, but I don't do that. I leave those standard. Anytime you make changes in here, of course, make sure you hit save settings. Let's go over to the next one here. So we have overlay. Now I have definitely made some changes in here. This is actually not what it looks like normally. Oh, I've actually locked it as well. So let's unlock it here. This is not what it looks like normally. When you start the game, it'll look like this. And actually it won't. It'll look like this. Obviously, to me, I don't necessarily like this. It's kind of bulky and it kind of gets in your way. So there's a couple different modes here you can do. You can do minified, which is what I do. And then you can do the overlay opacity, which I turn down. That's just a little bit nicer and cleaner for me. You can also do just only buttons, which I don't necessarily like. I like the minified one the best. Okay, so, and you can also change this. I like putting it at items missing. So basically that tells me, hey, I need 4 gloves, I need 4 boots in order to complete my set of 5, right? So that's how you would do that. If you don't want to do that, you could do like total items. And at that point it would say, so I have like 1 full set in here. So it would say like 1 glove, 1 boot, 1 helmet. I like it the other way, just so it kind of tells you like, hey, this is what you're missing. This is kind of what you need to collect. And then of course you have lock position. I kind of like putting mine down here, a little bit out of the way, and it kind of doesn't really bother any of the buttons here. The only thing it would bother is like if you're level up little button right here, so maybe you could put it over here, something like that. Okay, cool. Let's go back here and let's lock it. So we're gonna lock it right there. So stash tab, overlay, that is for the actual overlay here, so like this thing. And then you could change this color. I think it's fine to just do red. That's fine for me. Item by item, I like that as well. You could technically do sets. I don't necessarily like that. I like it how it kind of just goes everywhere, but if you could do sets, let's actually just try that and show you guys what it looks like here. We need to refresh this though. So we're gonna hit this button right here. So I might as well show you this right now. So the buttons here, the 1 is just to open up your overlay here, and the S is to refresh your basically just the chaos recipe tool in general, so it knows what is in your stash tab. Now the R is for reloading your filter based off of how much is in your stash tab. So technically when you go into a map, you would want to hit S and then you would hit R, and item filter loaded successfully. You're good to go. Go clear the map. That literally took like 1 second to do that. So that's kind of what I do there. So let's hit this. So that's technically what it looks like if you want to do the full set. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. You guys can kind of do whatever one you like. I like doing the item by item, and we'll do that. So let's go ahead and save that settings. Now let's go over to the loot filter. This is very important because this is probably the second most questioned thing that I get asked. The best thing about this is definitely the loot filter manipulation. So you definitely want to check that if you want this. And again, like I said, it's going to alter your filter so that it'll tell you exactly what items to pick up. Let's say, again, if we already have enough body armors, we already have 5 body armors, it's going to stop showing body armors with this red color. It'll just show like normal body armors colors. And that basically tells you, you're picking up anything that's red on the ground, anything that is pink for me, pick that up, throw it in your stash tab. It automatically does it for you and tells you when to stop picking stuff up. So pretty cool. And that's of course the colors here. You can change the colors to whatever you want. I definitely changed the ring and amulet color just a little bit because those are the most rare. So if I ever see like a little pink colored one, I absolutely pick those up for sure. Always active. This is also pretty important. We're definitely going to hit not for the gloves. I would suggest really just doing rings and amulets. If you're struggling to get maybe say gloves or something, you can come in here and check mark that just so you can have extra supply of gloves. But basically it'll be always active on rings and amulets, and everything else will be determined by how many sets you have. Cool. So we're going to hit save settings always. Okay, so here's how this works. Now this is one of the newer features, this online filter, which is super cool. I think this maybe came in one of the last updates. It didn't work for me, so I'm going to suggest you guys not use that right now. Like I said, I know that they are updating this. Once that gets updated, I would absolutely use that. That's such a cool feature, and when that does get updated, I'm going to update this video and show you guys how to use this. But for now, let's not use that. Let's just use our regular filter. Excuse me. So in order to do this, excuse me again, in order to do this, what is important to tell you guys is that, again, this is going to manipulate your loot filter. So I would not suggest using the loot filter that you normally use in game to like do your mapping if you're not doing Chaos Recipe. If you're doing Chaos Recipe, obviously you want a specific filter that you're fine with it kind of changing, right? So in order to do that, we're actually going to go to oops, let's turn that off right there. We're going to go to Filter Blade, and I'm going to show you guys how to make a specific filter for this. This is definitely the best website that you can use for creating these filters, and it's super, super easy, okay? So we're just going to go at the main site we have here. We're going to go to Overview. If you need to do, you can reset filter, or if you don't need to do that, you don't have to do that. Important thing to note here, though, is you have to do at most semi-strict. You cannot do strict or above. If you do that, it's not going to show the rare items that you need. So we're going to do semi-strict, okay? And then from there, we are going to, and that's literally the only change that you need to do, by the way. We're going to go over to download, and then we're going to go, you start on option 1 up here, sync with POE. We're going to click option 2, and then we're going to hit, we could just do, we'll do like what, test right here. We'll hit test, and then we're going to download that. So it's going to open up here. And then from there, we are going to right click this, and we're going to copy it or cut it, whatever you want to do. We're going to go to Documents, then we're going to go to My Games, Path of Exile, and we're going to paste it in here. Okay, so we pasted it in there. That is the location for all of your filters. So we're going to exit out of that, and we're going to go into the game here. You're going to go over to Options, you're going to go to Game, List of Item Filters, and you're going to go all the way down to, and it's not the blue ones. The blue ones are those quote unquote online filters. It's going to be one of these at the bottom that is like this, white type color. And as you can see right there, test. So we're going to click the test, and item filter loaded successfully. Now, if you need to, this is the next step here. You need to then, once you do that, go here and then click this, and then it will open up your, basically where you have all your filters, and you need to link it to the filter that you just created. I had been using this one, but I'm now going to use test, right? So we're gonna hit test, and there you go. So now it is now linked to that filter, and it will make adjustments to your filter. Let's hit save here. Anytime you hit this R button. So again, anytime you hit R, hit item filter loaded successfully, and that is going to change the colors of the items for you. Perfect. Now, I guess I can mention, if you guys do try and use that online filter, that is what was not working for me. It would actually link up just fine, but when I hit this R button, it actually gave me an error, and it did some funky stuff. So again, I would probably not use that for now. But that's basically the whole tool right there. Let's go over and let's just make sure that was everything. But I really think that that's everything. You can click show icon on map if you really want. To me, it's not that big of a deal. Basically, it'll just make all the items that drop have a little icon on the map. Not a big deal for me, so I'm not going to click that. And the last thing that I was going to mention to you guys, of course, is this POE Session ID, which, like I said, is a little bit complicated, but lucky for us, they actually made a pretty solid guide within this tool. So I'm going to show you guys where to go to it. So again, this is the main little link that I'm going to post for you guys in the description. So once you come here, you're actually going to scroll down. Let's find it here. So this is a guide on how to do it. This is basically everything that I've been talking about, but in written form, if you want to read that. Let's see. Okay, so here is this section right here. So POE Session ID. Here's how to find this one. Let's click this. I'm actually going to link this in the description of the video as well, because this is very important. This is the guide on how to actually get your POE Session ID. And there's a couple different per, if you're using Chrome, Microsoft Edge, if you're using Internet Explorer, Firefox, all that sort of stuff, it tells you how to do it. I am using Opera GX. And for me, what I need to do is right click and do inspect element. And from there, I go over here and then I do application. I think it's roughly the same as all the other ones, but I hit application and then let's go. I'm going to hide it because I don't want you guys to see it, but you go to cookies and then you go to the POE website. Make sure that you're logged in. That is very important here. Make sure you are logged into POE. So technically you would want to do it like this. And then you do right click, inspect element, and you would go over to application, and then you would go to cookies. You would see this right here. Again, I'm not going to show you it, but over here it will show you your POE Session ID. Go back here and it'll look like this. So like I said, cookies, click Path of Exile, and then the very first one is POE Session ID. You're actually going to double click that value right there and you're going to copy it. You can hit Control C to copy it. And that is really all you do. You're going to go back into the chaos recipe tool and you're going to paste it right here and you're done. So that is how you do that. A lot of people do have questions about it because it is a little funky and it's not, the most easy thing to do in the world, but that's how you do it. And that's really all that is for the tool. Now the tool is working for me as of today, which is one day before the Arch Nemesis League. If it stops working or anything like that, I'm going to update this video. So check out the description of this video. It'll probably be like right above the links if it stopped working or something. I will let you guys know. And like I said, if once they update this, and I've been told it might update actually in the next week or so, I will come back and I'll do an updated guide if anything changes for you guys, because I think this tool is so fantastic that I want to make sure I have the most up-to-date guide for you guys at all times, so I can reference it, for example, in my stream or just on my channel in general, and you guys can be using this to make tons and tons of currency. Now, I want to give you guys kind of a use case scenario. So I will actually be using this tool in the coming league here, and I'll probably be using it the first, 2 to 3 days of the league. So what I do specifically for this is I will actually start using this tool when I get to Act 9, the Blood Aqueduct, because like I said, remember it has to be item level 60 and above. This is the first zone that you can actually start doing the Chaos Recipe tool. So I will actually start doing it right when I get to the Blood Aqueduct, and I will start collecting all the juicy chaos recipes. You can actually get from Act 9 to Act 10 probably somewhere between 5 and 10 sets of this, so you can actually make just passively from doing Act 9 and Act 10 anywhere between 10 and 20 chaos just from the Chaos Recipe tool, and that's pretty average. So that's pretty solid, just leveling up to kind of start your in-game mapping. You got, at least 20 chaos to get maybe your first item or something. That's not too bad at all. However, for me, what I'm going to be doing is when I get to, actually, I don't know exactly what, maybe even the Blood Aqueducts, I'm going to stop progressing in the campaign and I'm going to go do Heist. And I'm going to release a specific video on this here pretty quick about my actual exact league start strategy. But basically, I'm going to go into Heist, and Heist is very, very good for Chaos Recipe. You actually get a ton of jewelry. And like I said earlier, right, the jewelry is the bottleneck. So we're going to get a ton of jewelry and we're going to be able to do a ton of chaos recipes. And if you do that within the first day or 2 or 3 of a league, Exalteds are so cheap compared to, like a week later, they're like half the cost. So that makes Chaos Orbs very valuable. So if you're able to get a ton of Chaos Orbs by just doing the chaos recipe, it's actually going to like significantly boost you in power level, and you're going to be able to afford some of that early gear really early on. So that's kind of my strategy, and that's why I really think the Chaos Recipe tool is very, very good. And I think in general for newer players and for kind of more casual players, it's just a fantastic tool to get you some passive income. Because like I said, it's super, super automated. Literally all you have to do is like click 3 buttons, right? You just click this, and then you click this when you go into map, and that's it. And then you play the map, and then you pick up whatever items it tells you to pick up, and you throw it in your tab, and that's literally it. Super good, and it's just going to make you a passive income of chaos. So I really cannot praise this tool enough. I really think every single person out there should use this. Even the fancy, you know, super long time players, I think all of them should use this on day 1 and 2 of a league. And then for you casual folks out there, just keep using it. I have people that, you know, even have been playing Path of Exile for years, and they still use it, you know, weeks and weeks into a league, just because it's so easy and it makes you so much currency. Yeah, guys, that's all I have for this tool. If you guys have questions, definitely let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to read all of y'all's questions and answer. But I do think this guide is pretty good at getting you guys all the information you need. So I definitely hope this helps, and that is all I got on this one. I will catch you guys in the next one.